On Look East tonight, a sombre day for the region's armed services. Suffolk soldier Adam Drain is brought home, the 100th victim of the war this year. And witnesses described the moment these Royal Anglians were killed by friendly fire. Hello from...
Good evening. On a grim day for the service community in this region. Today, while the government has been forced to make difficult decisions about the cost of the war in Afghanistan, some families here have been reminded once again of the cost they are being asked to pay.
Today, at a rain-swept airfield in Wiltshire, the body of Adam Drain from Bury St Edmunds was returned to the UK. He was the 100th British soldier to be killed in Afghanistan this year. Later, the coffin, draped in a Union flag, passed through the streets of nearby Wootton Bassett. Lance Corporal Drain from 1st Battalion, the Royal Anglian Regiment, was 23. His parents, Desmond and Jackie, said they had tremendous pride in their son's achievements, but that no words could describe their loss. While these scenes were taking place in Wootton Bassett, an inquest was getting underway in the nearby town of Trowbridge. This was to hear evidence about the deaths of 3 Royal Anglians killed in a so-called friendly fire incident in Afghanistan 2 years ago. Our reporter Joel Mapp was at today's hearing.
Susie, hello. Yes, when a British soldier is killed in Afghanistan, 2 things normally happen. One, their body is repatriated, as we saw today at Wootton Bassett with a Royal Anglian. And then later on, there is usually an inquest, and that's what's been happening today here in Trowbridge. The families of 3 Royal Anglian soldiers came here from Ipswich, from Chelmsford and from Harlow looking for answers. But this is a close-knit regiment, and speaking through an army welfare officer, they said their minds were never far from Wootton Bassett.
Their thoughts and prayers are with the family of Lance Corporal Adam Drain, who also from the 1st Battalion Royal Anglian Regiment, who was killed last week in Afghanistan, becoming the 100th casualty of this tragic year for us. And as I say, their thoughts and prayers are with his family during his repatriation up at Lynham and Wootton Bassett today.
Now in court today here in Trowbridge, the court was told a vivid description of what happened that day in August 2007 with these 3 Royal Anglians from some of the men who were there. We can show you some pictures now of some of the fighting, pictures taken around the same time as what happened. There was an intense firefight with the Taliban, and there was an airstrike ordered from a nearby American-US jet. Then we were told about a big white flash, a shockwave, intense heat, and then darkness. A 500-pound American bomb dropped in the wrong place, killing Privates Aaron McClure and John Thrumble. But the court was told that Private Robert Foster had been trapped alive under the rubble. By the time his comrades had realised he was missing, he'd suffocated. The soldiers' families gave this statement today through their solicitor.
The families are really here today, first and foremost and most importantly, to support their boys. And I think the questions that we need to ask today is, why in modern warfare do mistakes like this happen? And that's crucially important to us, but also to avoid any future incidents like this happening again, and particularly to families.
Now, the coroner said that the key evidence at this inquest will come from a Sergeant Perrin, the Royal Anglian officer who ordered this airstrike. He had had problems communicating with that American pilot. Their grid references said the coroner did not match up. But this inquest has been adjourned until the new year to give the teams a chance to look at new evidence, only just released by the Americans.
Well, the government announced today that the RAF in this region is facing a shake-up to help pay for the war in Afghanistan. As you may have seen, RAF Cottesmore in Rutland will close, with its Harrier jets transferred to RAF Wittering near Peterborough. RAF Marham in Norfolk is almost certain to lose a squadron of Tornadoes. The money saved from all of the changes will go towards a new fleet of helicopters to support our troops in Afghanistan.
Let's talk about those RAF changes now with Shailesh Vara. He's the MP for North West Cambridgeshire, and Wittering is in his constituency. Mr Vara, first of all, what is your reaction to today's news?
Well, first of all, I'm pleased that as far as RAF Wittering is concerned, they've been saved from these cuts. And can I take this opportunity to say a huge tribute to all the personnel at RAF Wittering the very brave men and women who are doing such a brilliant job in fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan. And of course the base itself plays a crucial role in terms of helping the local economy.
And what is your view about the need to reprioritise, as the government put it, the funding to put more money into Afghanistan?
Well, of course, the Chinook helicopters are very much welcome, although it is a matter of concern that by the time that they're ready, according to Gordon Brown's own predictions, the Afghanis should be in a position to take control of their own country. But it's also a matter of concern that other areas in the MOD have had to have cutbacks on a piecemeal basis. There will be losses for Harriers, for Tornadoes, thousands of jobs will be going at the MOD, particularly for civilians, and the Navy has also suffered. And really this is a piecemeal measure, and what is particularly worrying is the fact that the Defence Secretary indicated today that there might be further cutbacks, and that really is not the sort of uncertainty you want when we've got very brave men and women who are daily putting their lives on the front line for us.
But these are difficult times financially, aren't there? The money needs to be found somewhere, and as far as I'm aware, the Tories aren't saying they would put more money into defence.
I'm not for one moment denying that the tough decisions don't have to be taken. What I am saying, however, is that the way the government has done it is not the right way. This is a piecemeal measure. What is really required, and what we are calling for, is a proper defence strategic review which would look at the whole spectrum of everything to do with defence matters, and then look at the matters in detail, take some decisions, and then move on from there. But not this way of shaving off a little bit in various parts of the defence budget and then say, well, we might need to return to this because we haven't quite finished off the job so far.
Shailesh Bara, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So a difficult day for anybody with family in the forces. You might wonder who, at a time like this, would want to join the army. The answer, today in Cambridge at least, is quite a few.
Jeff Woodcock joined up when he was 16. 34 years later, he's giving these latest recruits a final run-through about what lies ahead. The returns, the risks.
You will find yourself sooner or later in an operational environment. Do you understand that? OK, today that's Afghanistan.
Royston, Papworth, Hatfield, Baldock, Cambridge. They come from all corners, but they share one goal, and that is to serve. Otis Tate is 19 and joining the Royal Anglians Infantry. Trained as a brickie, he's already been laid off 4 times. It's a new career, but have losses on the front line made him think twice.
It does, but then I just think, you know, by law of odds, it probably wouldn't be me. By you know, chances and all that lot. But if it does, you know, so be it. If it's happened, it happens. I just deal with that when I come to it.
I'm hoping that things will settle down a little bit by the time he finishes his basic training, and hopefully he won't have to go to Afghanistan. But if he does, then just fully support from me and my other children, you know, and just hope that he's okay.
Another recruit is Stephen Offord. He's 22 and here with wife Corrie, daughter Catherine, who's 2, and 9-month-old Jack.
Yeah, there's the downsides which I have to be aware of, but mentally I'm not going to dwell on them. Just focus on what I can do to support my wife and kids, really.
For Otis and the other recruits, the waiting is almost over. He starts 26 weeks of training just after Christmas. In short, he says signing up is the best way he can pay tribute to those who've already paid the ultimate price. Kevin Birch, BBC Look East, in Cambridge.
In tonight's special report, the other side of Newmarket, jockey Kieran Fallon discusses the darker side of racing's headquarters.
While